Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the International Wildcard Invitational. Unfortunately, we have been experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties here, and we just want to apologize for that. My name is Max Rogie for Foglia. Joining me on the desk is Jake Spawn Tiberi, and we're just going to go over the results of today as of so far. Straight up, we see Chiefs taking out a very convincing win against Ints Esport, which was a really great game to watch. And then Saigon Jokers got a massive 20k gold lead to finish out that one over Supermassive Esports.
Yeah, of course, Detective Spawn judged that the early game from Saigon Jokers was a lot to do with that victory. So even though it was a pretty convincing closeout that unfortunately weren't able to see, guys, so apologies for that. It was a pretty one-sided affair. And, you know, Supermassive have to go back to the drawing board after that because it's not what they wanted coming into this. Supermassive, a team that we hyped up a lot, you know, best of both Besiktas and Dark Passage was how I described the team. They're kind of fumbling it right now. So I think that Saigon Jokers now get that big boost. I think everyone was kind of confused what team was going to come out of the GPL, and it looks like Saigon Jokers definitely, at least after the first couple of games, now 2-0, are here to play.
Yeah, we only got to see one game from each team yesterday, and both looked quite strong. So it was a bit of a surprise to see Supermassive not pulling out a win like they did yesterday. But coming into the next game, we have Hard Random taking on Lion Gaming.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting one because Random, they're currently 2-0, and in my opinion, they're the team to beat out of the CIS region, Commonwealth Independent States. It's going to be really difficult to take these guys down because they have different champion pools. You know, like he plays so much different things.
Yeah.
You know, see the Time Catch, we see the Bard. He's such a monster right now. Kira, he's all over the Anivia. 2 games, 2 wins. INTZ, Chiefs, they knock them both down. So they have a difficult run at the start of this. Lion Gaming, probably the first team that you would expect them to pull out a win versus. Yep. But what a turnaround from this IWC team. I mean, when they went into IWCQ, they looked pretty average, but going into A, of course, they picked up a huge victory there. I think that this is a team that is very exciting and looking forward to see how they progress throughout the rest of the tournament.
Look, Hard Random have been impressing the heck out of all of us here, so really excited to see what happens when some of their more comfort champions get picked away. We've got Smurf in the top lane, Steros in the jungle, Kira in the mid, the Anivia God, Miracle and Lyric rounding that one out on support.
Yeah, exactly right. So as you mentioned, a lot of comfort picks for these teams. You know, the Bard, the Time Kench. We're talking about the Anivia as well. I'm having mental blanks all day. But Smurf also is impressive up there in the top lane. You know, Stairhorse as jungler, also really good. So I think that they are an overall pretty well-balanced team. I think that this is a team that lots of people would have overlooked just because of past results, but are certainly showing the first couple of days that they're here to play. And if they pick up 3-0 right now, I mean, this is going to be difficult for other teams to crawl back from, especially trying to play catch-up to them because they've already gone through Chiefs. They've already gone through INTZ. Like, the hard job is over. Theoretically, I mean, you still got Saigon Jokers who are playing very well. Supermassive, another team you have to look out for. But this should be like a little bit more of the downhill run now for Hard Random coming in. Unfortunately for Lion, though, very hard to come back from 0-2.
Yeah, Hard Random have yet to show any real weaknesses, but a team that have yet to find their footing in Lion Gaming here, currently 0-2, sitting at the bottom of the table right now, looking for them to pull out a win here, really regroup. They've had a bit of downtime to kind of think about what went wrong in those first 2 games and rectify those mistakes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, you know, you look at their jungler and AD carry and Thiak and Saya to try and lead this team to something good. Saya, of course, pretty impressive down there in the AD carry position, but not having the best tournament so far. So I think that looking at Hard Random, I didn't see any weakness, so to speak. But, you know, if Lion Gaming could potentially have a look and see if they can come in, it would be certainly like Saya, you maybe look at their bottom lane, but it's honestly going to be a hard fight.
Yeah, and on the side of Hard Random, again, they just have so much solid players. Every single time they fell behind in their first game, they never played like they were behind. They had a strategy and they stuck to it, and they kept doing it until it worked, eventually breaking the base of Ints and showing off just what an Anivia pick combined with a Bard can really achieve.
Yeah, exactly right, and I like the diverse pickups they have there. I mean, when you have a look at Kira, Rusty was talking about it a lot. He's definitely a master. He maxes out E, he chucks the second point in Q, then, you know, maxes out the wall. There's just so much catch potential. You pair it with something like a Bard, creates artificial terrain for him to be able to stun in. There was just so many good things to, like, highlight about that composition and how they played it as a whole. And I think that when you have a look at it, like, the later that game went, the more they felt comfortable in going into the latter stages and picking up the eventual win. One thing that I do want to point out is, like, the fact that, you know, they are 2 champions that you can maybe pick on in the laning phase. Anivia has to push. Like, it's something that we talk about, very wave clear centric there. Can be dove, can like naturally be aggressed on. If they go with something like a Bard, of course, lane swaps become a lot more important in trying to beat him around the map and see if you can out macro a team like Hard Random. But with how safe their compositions have been, once again, there's small things that you can look at, but there's nothing really that's standing out as in like, this is the way to beat these teams. Whereas Chiefs games yesterday, I was like, all they have to do is play a little bit more aggressive. They'll be able to do this. INTZ's games, it was like, don't fumble around the Baron. Like, there are very obvious weaknesses. Right now, maybe the early game for Hard Random is where we're looking, but even that is a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah, they have a lot of potential in their team compositions because right now they've got a few of these unique niche picks. It'll be interesting to see once they're taken away, maybe in bans, maybe picked away, what they default to. I'm sure they can play the current meta of that tanky top laner well, but it's going to be up to them to pull it out.
So that's the thing, right? Like, do you really go away from, like, do you ban the Bard, Tahm Kench, and Anivia, right? That's what we're talking about, like the three comfort picks, right? So if you do that, like Echo, Poppy,
there's so much
Nidalee,
left.
Kindred, Sivir, like Kalista that we've seen a lot of red side bans. Lucian is another power pick. There are just so many power picks right now that if you do that, like, first pick becomes huge, and then the next two subsequent picks you get, because you kind of get like the two kind of pseudo counters, because you'll see right now in a power meta you get to counter pick much earlier than you do in like a standard meta, because like when people first pick things like Poppy top or Echo top, you're like, okay, cool, I understand that where that is going. I can get a solo lane counter pick very early in a draft. So blue side also has its strengths right now in the draft if all of those picks go through, which is why specific banning, target banning, very dangerous in the current patch.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But then, of course, we got to give some credit to Lion Gaming. Despite going 0-2 right now, they looked quite strong in their first game. So definitely showing some signs of life and a lot of potential here. Of course, their second game can't really sing the same song as it was quite a one-sided affair.
Yeah, it certainly did look to be that way. Game one up against Isra, they're kind of rivals between Lassen and Lan. They did put up a good fight, as you said. As I said, I look towards the bottom lane of this particular lineup. We've seen Lion Gaming so many times come through in the IWC. They are quite an experienced lineup now. We saw Saya as well as Arce at the IWC, and Thiak was there as well. And this is a team, they're a little bit sporadic, a little bit unpredictable. I mean, Saya is a great Ezreal player, so they do like to scale a little bit, and it's just something that once again, they can cause upsets here, but I don't think they're necessarily coming into any of these games as favorites. It takes a lot of the pressure off, but it also means that, as we said, they're going to be fighting that uphill battle.
It's always interesting to see how teams do when they are the dominant force in their region coming into these international events, really getting to play with the best of the best. So really looking forward to see them kind of rekindle that spark that led them to #1 in the LAN region.
Yeah, I agree. And, it's something that maybe a conflict in style here, and whether they will be a little bit more comfortable against the scaling of the CIS region, because it is something that's very similar.
Sure.
But I think that, once again, aggression seems to be the name of the game of the tournament so far. We can talk about tournament meta, the Lucian pick, the Echo pick, the ability to go forward. Lissandra is turning up huge. And this is something that, CIS, they're able to rebut because of their cool champion pools in the Anivia. But on the other side of Lion Gaming, it doesn't seem to be the same.
Yeah, so Lissandra seems to be the go-to pick right now. Every team that has picked her up has seen moderate success. So maybe we've got that trend where the tournament is developing its own little meta here, picking and banning away based on past results. As every team's going to play each other once, they're going to get a lot of chance to look into these games, get some extra research down, a little bit more practice just by proxy.
Yeah, it definitely is the case. We always talk about it with best of ones, that it is kind of that coin flip where if you see something you can figure out for one game and then the team doesn't get a chance to respond to it. So definitely something there. Maybe there's a cool pick against Anivia that they're looking at, something like an assassin to try and get some early dominance down. But once again, like, Yuri's got his work cut out for him. I think Juril also has work cut out for him in the top lane. Like, unfortunately for this team, it's just, like, when you look at Smurf and Kira, they're just such solid laners, and they team fight very well together as a team. Hard Random as a team has been together for quite some time. I mean, they've won the last 3 CIS, and they've been dominant for quite, like, even further before that. So I think this is a team that you just look at, they're just so good at being able to work as a team, scale into those later stages, and they just fight so well.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how they're going to be drafting themselves around these comfort picks at Hard Random. So obviously have, maybe like you said, they have that Anivia counter in mind. Do they leave it up, pick something they're confident that can either beat her in lane or outscale her, or do they just go for the safe bet and ban it away?
Well, first things first, nothing really outscales Anivia, so I don't think that's a good game plan. Maybe a Cassidy does, but that's like stretching. I think that Anivia, as far as like if you're a good Anivia player, it's kind of that champion that does a lot, has burst damage, has wave clear, has great zone control because she can create terrain. And against Kira, I think you just ban it. Like we've learnt this time and time again. Like he's had 2 games on it. Congratulations, Kira. You are still a very good Anivia player. You probably won't see it for the rest of the tournament. So like that's what I'm actually expecting to see here. And then it's what does he go to after that?
Yeah.
You know, is he going to play utility? Is he going to play control? Like things like Azir do a pretty similar job to Anivia with the Emperor's Divide as well as the Sand Soldiers that come up. So you know there are still options in the champion pool there for the hard random mid laner. But it all depends on like, does the adaptation come out from Lion Gaming, and then what is the response from
a lot of potential picks for him here, and we mentioned as well how well Licorice did on that Bard and the Kench. That just means he's doing so well on these off-meta champions. I'm keen to see him on Braum and Alistar, just being that tanky frontline, using that sense he has to find the right engages, the cracks in the wall, get through, knock up that backline, and really kind of open the door for his team to get in there.
Well, even more impressive, like let's evaluate what Tahm Kench and what Bard do. So Bard is a great long-range initiator, he's a lane bully, and he has really good like cheeky CC as well as a magical journey. So he's like a funny champion to play, right? Tahm Kench, all about saving, not really all that much of a lane bully because he is melee. I mean, as he gets the Sightstone and some health, he can start putting down a little bit of hurt, but a very different feel on the champion. And the fact that he was able to swing from such an aggressive playstyle to such a passive playstyle, saving people, you know, just go back to the turret dive where the Chiefs, you know, swept the Anivia into the turret, egged it up. What does he do? Just gobbles her up, runs away. They win the team fight quite handily versus the Chiefs. I think it's shown that, you know, he is a very versatile support. So things like Braum, things like Alistar will come quite naturally to a player like that. And I look down hard random and they've just got classy players everywhere. And that's not like, so if you fire these specific bans, like Smurf has already shown, he can be a dominant force in the top lane. I don't know if you can afford to do it with the support. Anivia is a ban I think is stock standard against hard random. I don't think that you attack the Bard or the Tahm Kench here because he's already proven that he's got a very wide array of supports he can play.
Yeah, Lion Gaming definitely have their work cut out from him, but they've got some superstars in their midst as well. Saya, quite a beast when given his correct champions on that ADC role. We've seen this tournament be very ban focus towards that bot lane marksman. A lot of Kalista bans, a lot of Sivir bans. I think Sivir was 100% pick or ban yesterday. The only game we haven't seen her played in were the first 2 of today.
Yeah, exactly right. You know, Saya is the one that, you know, when we saw him in All-Stars especially, did start to catch up. So I think that he is a very good AD carry. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if continual bans go down into that bottom lane for Lion Gaming because that does seem to be their strength.
Yeah, so straight away we've seen Ryze and Nidalee be taken off the table. Ryze in the right hands can be an absolute spell slinger, and when Nidalee starts to get away from you, the ball just continues to roll.
Well, Nidalee is more that, you have to start snowballing the game, otherwise she can fall off, but she's so successful at it right now. Ryze is more like, anyone can play Ryze. Like, Ryze is a very linear champion. All you have to do is know the combos, and then he'll hit 2 items eventually and become that scaling monster. So I like the respect from hard random here, getting rid of Ryze. And opening up Kira's lane even further. And as I mentioned, Ezreal really good for Saya. So Sivir, Ezreal, and continued target bans towards the AD carry, unfortunately, of Lion Gaming.
Yeah, exactly right. Hitting him where it hurts here. They're definitely going to be feeling that one. So they answer with the Graves ban of themselves, taking that away from Steros.
And Echo. So Echo. One more time. Yeah, people just not respecting Nivea, mate. I don't know what's going on here, Max, but this is interesting.
It'll be interesting to see if hard random prioritize it with the first pick, knowing that I doubt Lion Gaming will be picking that one away, or they leave for the last, get some more of those top priority picks, or maybe Uri thinks he can take his own hand to Nivea.
Yeah, we'll see if he can. Of course, things like Kindred, let's have a look. Poppy is still available. Yep. Kalista is also up there if Miracle wants to pick that one up. So that, imagine Liquid with a Kalista with a Fate's Call. That's even more terrifying. So there is a wide array of champions up right now, and it's going to be Kindred.
Yeah, Kindred, a very safe jungle pick. Quite a dominant force when she's able to get ahead, get a few of those marks of the Kindred under her belt. Lamb's Respite, such a game-changing ability.
Yeah, it certainly is. You know, when we have a look at this one, let's just quickly evaluate the strengths of Kindred. Jungles very quickly, very healthily, has great dueling potential and a game-changing ultimate. So ticks all the boxes of what you need to be a jungler. The Yak was a massive Evelyn player, so would not be surprised to see if he goes back towards something like that. But that's a bully bottom lane hovered right now for Lion Gaming. We already mentioned it, Seiya Arce. They need to be able to pull these champions out if they are going to dominate it.
Yeah, locking in that Bard and Lucian. Remember, that takes it away from Liquor at one of his more premier supports we've seen, hitting those cross-map ultis to keep those people in place once he found out they were caught out of position. And Lucian, kind of the star AD carry of this tournament so far, so no surprise to see that locked in. Straight away, Maokai and Kalista. That's what happens when you leave Kalista available in the hands of Miracle.
Yeah, it certainly is, but once again, Bard Lucian should be able to bully this lane. Kalista does have a really impressive 2-item spike, as well as that utility in the AD carry role, but something that, you know, I don't think Lion Gaming are going to be awfully scared, at least of the laning phase of Kalista at this point.
Curious to see how Lion Gaming go about picking their mid. Surely they're expecting the Anivia at this stage. Leaving it open. Hard Random played at both games. I'm sure that Kira has other tricks up his sleeve. If he can play Anivia, I'm sure he can play every other meta mage at the moment.
Yeah, no, Kira's really good. Yeah. He's champion. Like, I mean, we saw him in the 1v1 tournament picking up everything. So I think that that's definitely not a worry right now, and they're going to early pick their mid lane. That makes very little sense to me right now.
Varus is still open, a very good counter to that Azir mid Gragas.
There are so many counters to Azir right now. Azir is a great pick, don't get me wrong, but if Assassins ever get an isolated lane against him, they will deal with him handily. You know, as you mentioned, Poke also very good against him in the form of Varus. And we are going to see Licorice on the more standard support, it looks like right now. Alistar being hovered. Gragas, be interested to see whether he goes to the jungle position or the top lane. I've seen a little bit of both.
Flexibility of those top champions. The Zillion hover. Haven't seen any Zillion this competition so far. Only seen it banned away from the Japanese mid laner.
Yeah, Seros is not going to see it. He's a really good Zillion player. Anything with circles, Seros. That's the way I describe it. And it is actually going to be LeBlanc.
LeBlanc switch at the last minute. You mentioned how good Assassins are at dealing with this Azir. So Kira going to show his hand. He's not just a Anivia one-trick pony, but that might be decided.
I don't think anyone was ever going to accuse him of that.
Yeah.
He's a really good player, Kira. Also got to sit down with him at IWCI. Really down-to-earth, chill guy as well. So I think that pretty impressive player. As we also see Lissandra being hovered, potentially Fajiro up in that top lane. It's a difficult matchup against Maokai, however, just because Maokai provides so much damage, CC, and you've got a damage-heavy jungler, and not really going to be able to escape from Maokai Kindred in any quick order is the Lissandra, so it's a risky pick. Also doesn't do as well in a lane swap. There's no real hard initiation. You're relying a lot on your jungler. And we've seen people that want to play carry top laners and tank junglers don't really seem to suit the current meta. So I think there are some questions here if they go with it. Instead, they swap over Nautilus. Much better pick.
Yeah, it looks like it will be Nautilus up in that top lane. And the Gragi going back to the jungle after we've seen him dominating that top lane, doing quite a good job against some of the more fashionable picks as of late.
Yeah, it is, but then we saw last game, and I guess Fab kind of threw a spanner in that one. I was really happy to start hyping up top lane Gragas because it's a pick that I do enjoy. But, you know, not always coming out ahead in these matchups. Has a weak level 1. Kind of needs like 1, 2, and 3 to be even, and then he can start maybe trying to pressure a lane, but we've already seen that Echo more than happy to deal with it, and I think that Maokai would scale perfectly fine versus a Gragas, so can understand going for more of that super tank in the north.
You're exactly right, not providing a lot of CC, a lot of tanky stats here. So over on the side of Hard Random, they've gone for a very different composition. We saw them with a lot of kind of lockdown and poke, but this one it seems like they've got the Kindred going to be jungling up, scaling really well. You've got LeBlanc for that all-in assassination potential on the Azir. So the Azir picked early, you mentioned that's showing your hand a little bit. A lot of counter picks. You sure that was the right decision here, Spawn?
Yeah, no, so I'm not all that wrapped in the Azir. I think that because there is a Lucian as a first pick, it makes a little bit of sense because Azir kind of like keeps your Lucian safe. He is quite a short range AD carry. You can duck back and forth through that wall, so it's got good synergy there with the AD carry. But kind of the problem right now is that Kindred Ultimate with Maokai Ultimate, they're kind of the same size. The Maokai Ultimate, of course, that big damage reduction that will go across the Lamb's Respite, and it's very hard to clean up the back end of a team fight. At the same time, he can pull the trigger, pop it, get all of that added damage. Then you've got Kalista, who doesn't do upfront damage, can choose when she does her damage. So there's great synergy with Kindred between the rest of this composition. So I think that right now the Hard Random comp suits Hard Random very well in the fact that they're a team fighting team, and as soon as they do choose to pull that trigger, start grouping up and going back towards it, they have a team that is very, like, I guess, safe to execute.
Yep.
Whereas on the side of Lion Gaming, they kind of need the big sweep to come across. That's why they picked up the Azir as a counter to Kindred. Get everyone out of that ultimate at the start of the fight. See whether you can clean up early.
That's exactly right. But looking at that bot lane, we saw just how well Kalista Alistar can do in the right hands. Radiant and Ejim absolutely wrecking face. So it's going to be up to the bot lane as well to show the potential of these two champions, and I have faith.
Yeah, I certainly think that, you know, Miracle and Liquor, they have a good lane, especially when it comes to team fighting. I do look over down though at Sayar and Arce and just think that these guys, like Bard Lucian, like, that is bully written all over it. I think that they have a very good 2v2. Wouldn't actually be surprised if Hard Random lane swap away from them. I already mentioned that Maokai does very well. I think that's why Nautilus was picked up on the side of Lion Gaming, because they are expecting it, and Nautilus is also really good in a lane swap situation.
Alrighty guys, jumping into the game, we got the 2-0 Hard Random taking on the 0-2 Lion Gaming. Lion Gaming hopefully looking to pick up their first win of the tournament, and Hard Random really wanting to secure that first place spot.
Yeah, so Stehos looking to be aggressive already. Good fan out coming through from both teams, and it looks like another blind lane swap going to be attempted here by Hard Random, but of course it will be matched by Lion Gaming, so nothing really new there.
You mentioned how much of a bully lane that is going to be, so getting matched here, it might be a little bit difficult for them to really utilize the Kalista Alistar power, especially when you have Lucian and Bard. Nowhere is safe. The last place you want to be is behind those minions.
Well, they have power at level 6, right?
True.
So once they start scaling up, Kalista and Alistar do have power. The problem is they don't have power from level 1, and that's when Lucian and Bard are strong. So it's going to be one of those lanes that they have to be patient with it, stick it out, and see exactly what they can get going, because otherwise, if they get dominated from level 1, Sayar and Arce might be able to take over the rest of the map. So it's something that Hard Random just have to be aware of. Batten down the hatches a little bit, you know, give up a little bit of that early CS and see if they can scale throughout the rest of the game.
I imagine a player like Licorice will be going around roaming on that Alistar, trying to make plays.
So that's really dangerous, especially once level 6 hits, because Bard is, he's a pretty good turret diver. He takes your jungler in behind turrets very, very nicely, especially in that top lane. He can come through the river. You know, he's got Cosmic Binding as well for some CC, and also that ultimate that can stop up turrets. So that's a dangerous tactic if that's what they're going for, especially in a 2v2 lane. So I think that Hard Random are going to be stuck here, especially if it's standard lanes of just, you know, as I said, trying to slowly lose the lane, keep as much CS coming into them as possible. And if they get an early gank in there, you know, we already mentioned it, but headbutt Polv into Kindred is quite impressive.
Well, straight away we can see how much damage Miracle has already taken in that level 1 exchange. Bard getting that early level 2 due to the chimes, giving him that little bit of experience. Now Lucian on 2 as well, so Lion Gaming really know where the power in their team lineup lies, and they're going to be doing a good job of making sure that's exploited.
Yeah, and I think that across the board they kind of have good matchups, with the exception of that mid lane. As actually, First Blood already goes down.
Oh, dang.
And Yuri dies.
So right away we see Kira just winning that 1v1, showing the LeBlanc strength here. So yeah,
that was a solo kill. So once again, Kira, master of 1v1s. Don't know why I doubt him at all. I said that there's going to be good lanes apart from that mid lane matchup, and you know what? Kira proves me right. He just kills him.
Yeah, that is straight up Azir just getting outplayed, being able to burn through the barrier, the flash even. So
this is why I didn't like it. And the unfortunate thing, right, is if you got 2 winning side lanes, what you want to do is continue to shove up. But what that inadvertently does is isolate your mid lane, because the jungler needs to be able to shadow those side lanes. So think about this. You've got a Lucian Bard, and then you've got the Gragas jungle. So what Gragas wants to be doing is he wants to be sitting underneath that lane, keeping them nice and safe, making sure they can push up and be aggressive, because the last thing you want is a Kindred to fly in that lane, headbutt Polv to come out, and for you to lose all that advantage that you're starting to build up. What does that do? Junglers can't really go as close to mid lane, so you got isolation. Generally, Azir loves isolation because you pick him into control mages. Victor Azir, very famous. You're able to just shove minion waves back and forth into each other. LeBlanc breaks that trend because she straight up kills you in a 1v1. So all of a sudden, Gragas is choosing, do I gank mid lane and try and help out this Azir that's suffering? And maybe let my top lane that should win fall behind?
Yep.
Or do I try and support my winning lanes and try and get them further ahead? And right now you can see that didn't even get the time to make that decision because in 4 minutes, first blood was picked up.
It's such a conundrum for these junglers to face, but it looks like LeBlanc with her early advantage going towards that Frost Queen's claim. So saw it a bit on the Karma yesterday, but I can't say I've ever seen it on LeBlanc before.
Yeah, it used to be a pretty stable pickup on LeBlanc.
A while ago.
Yeah, a while ago. Definitely agree with you. Not as much AP. Did get tapped a little bit. The good thing is it has catch potential. And one thing that we talk about a lot is disappearing into Fog of War as a jungler, as a mid laner.
Ooh. I love the Bard Stun.
And whether you're able to follow. If LeBlanc ever goes into Fog of War, there is no way.
Oh. Steros might be just going for a little bit of damage here. The Magical Journey does get interrupted. A lot of damage coming down. He's going to get taken out. That is a wonderful kill. Kindred going to be feeling good after that one. That just boosts Hard Random further ahead in this game. Already looking bad for Lion Gaming.
This is what I said. You want to be able to mirror that top lane. You want to turn it into a 3v3 if you're the Gragas. What happens? He's not able to do that. Has to hang around mid a little bit. We actually saw him drive by mid in the middle of that little skirmish. And that means they pick up a kill onto the Bard. And it just reverses all that pressure.
Look at the damage coming out. Licorice doing a great job of just knocking up everyone in his path. Interrupting that Magical Journey was definitely the defining factor. That's another stack, Mark of the Kindred for Steros. That's 2 from the crabs that he's gotten. So really good spawning, not spawning too deep in the enemy jungle early on in the game. That's what you want when you just...
RNGs are smiling down on the Kindred right now. I completely agree with you. But it is very nice when you get double Scuttle Crabs at the start of the game, especially if you've marked up potentially a support and wiped him off the face of the map as well.
It's water there. Oh, the flash comes through. The headbutt into the wall. We can see the spear stacking. The heal has been used. That not going to be enough, but he flashes in, looking for a little bit more. There it is. Gets the kill. Another one over to the top, the bot lane, sorry. The duo lane here. So Hard Random are looking phenomenal right now.
And this should be a winning lane. I just want to go back to that point. Alistar, melee, gets punished by double ranged all the time.
Yep.
But because of Kira's great play in the mid lane, picking up that early kill, the pressure that he put down meant that Thiak couldn't be on the right parts of the map, still questioning his positioning right now. And just time and time again, Miracle and Licorice get ahead in their lane.
Yeah, Miracle's going to go back and get a hell of a first buy after a bunch of 1 kill, 1 assist, and a lot of CS under his belt. Already rocking about a 2,000 gold lead. Hard Random 3-0. They've started off very, very strong this game as we see the bot lane of Lion. They do not want to go up against this, but Hard Random answer with the exact same swap.
When you are a Lucian Bard and you're
running away,
swap away from a duo, you know that you're in trouble. It's only 7 minutes into this game, but it's already a 1,600 gold lead. And Hard Random, we already spoke about it. Beat INTZ, beat the Chiefs, now looking to take out Lion Gaming. And, you know, it's very early days in the tournament still. Lots of League of Legends to be played, but if this team is not viewed as one of the favorites, I would be questioning who is doing the analysis on it because they look so crisp at the moment.
Yeah, Kira just having absolutely no fear walking through those Sand Soldiers missing. But we see Thiak, he might be going for a little bit of a cheeky dive here. Don't think, is the tower still up? Yeah, the tower is still available, full health.
And you said you wanted to know, like, how Crit plays these standard supports, you know, the Alistar, the Braum. Answer is very well.
He plays them damn well indeed, seeing that already. Looks like he's Seros going in for an invade. They saw Gragas on the bot side, so what's the instant reaction for the jungler? Take as much away as you can. And that red buff will be falling over to Steros, putting him in quite a comfortable position here. Got himself the double daggers over his opponent.
Yeah, so Steros performing pretty admirably so far. Has a red buff as well, so you can never underestimate his chase potential. Pink ward will be cleared out here by Smurf. You can see Jirul knows that something a little bit fishy is up. He's going to potentially even go back. Don't know if you can afford to do that, mate. You're the last hope.
The last bastion.
You were literally, yeah.
That's heartbreaking. The hook comes through. This is going to spell disaster. Here comes Steros. The ultimate being used, flashing the opposite direction.
Way, yeah.
He has nowhere to run. Gragas is in pursuit, but LeBlanc is making her way up. The red smite goes down. It doesn't matter. He gets snared. He's going to get locked up and taken out, and that's another kill going over to the Kindred.
Yeah, Kira got ultied there by Thiak, but not able to really get much. Fate's Call comes in.
It is going to get the knockup. That's huge. The heal goes down. Headbutt back in. That's going to be a kill going over to Miracle. So
yeah, we had to even censor that kill for you, ladies and gentlemen. It was a little bit too brutal to view on the stream. So you see that the duo lane right now is going massive. As you see Kira on your screen, he does not look perturbed at all. He's like, yeah, I had to burn a flash. It wasn't the best, but you know what? My team, they're picking up the slack now as well. 5-0 looking to get the first turrets of the game, and Hard Random look phenomenal. Yeah, they have done nothing but impress me all tournament long and continuing to do so. Lion Gaming, on the other hand, they seem to, once they fall behind, they stay behind. Yeah. The aggressive jungling that's coming out of Steros, they just have no answer for it. Yeah, Steros also, you know, all on a better scaling jungler as well. So the fact that he's got the early advantage is not great news. We're also going to see a Cinderhulk coming out of Thiak. Damn. I like that call, just because if you're behind, you need to be tanky as soon as possible. Probably can't afford to go to the Runic Echo, so at least he's adapting to the pace of the game, if nothing else. But they are warning sides starting to stack up. No, after Kira getting that initial 1v1 in the mid lane, hasn't done too much, finished himself off that Frost Queen's claim, so he's got a little bit of that safety switch if he ever wants to go ward, and if he wants to slow down the Azir. So it's going to be there as we see Steros going for that Dragon. Should be fine to clean it up on his own. Yeah, 100% fine. You can see that his bottom lane's in control, his mid lane's in control, heck, his top lane's in control, so there's not really all that much the enemy team can do. He goes back, buys. Straight away, that Devourer picks up 5 stacks for himself. He's going to be able to grab a Scuttle Crab at the same time as well. So that's 7 stacks, and close. Yuri nearly gets taken out there. The late ghost after the initial burst has come through. But Kira just relentless aggression here, pushing the champion to its limits. Yeah, it certainly is, and why not? You're 11 CS up over the Azir. You know he's a control mage. Cosmic Binding comes out, teleport play here. Don't know if it's going for something. That's 4 members in the bot lane. The Pulverize not going to hit anyone. The Nautilus ulti comes down, but that's going to be it. They might have to go for a tower dive here since they've wasted so many resources. 100% cannot go for a tower dive because Fate's Call ulti is still available. Oh, wow. On both ends. Yeah, use nothing there apart from a flash. So this would be a dangerous dive to say the least because Ural not that tanky, neither is Thiak. Instead, they're looking to potentially go for it. Well, Maokai's already gotten that top side tower, so I guess this is really Collapse is coming out. That is true. Everyone's making their way down. Yeah, they have to back away. Kira's flying down there. All of a sudden, big creep wave going to crash into the turret. You're already 30 CS down as the Nautilus into Maokai matchup. You don't want to lose another big creep wave, but he is going to. And you know, an overcommitment, and as you said, absolutely nothing obtained. Yeah, a lot of resources burnt for no gain in the slightest. Steros just continuing their counter jungling. A little bit of a headbutt play here. Arce just answering back with some damage, but at this point, there's power spikes we saw. You said 1 to 5, they have the advantage, but after 6, it is all downhill for the bot lane of Lion Gaming. We're seeing exactly why. Yeah, and the idea is, right, is that you get far enough ahead at 1 to 5 is, yep. Oh, good ulti, they get bounced out. They should be in range. Miracle going for it, though. Gets the knockup. The triple pulverize, but I don't think it's going to matter as they get taken out. Lyric should be soon to follow the ultimate pop, but here is Kira. Looking for the play. The spooky ghosts are going to be revealing who is he going to choose as his target. The snare lands onto Thiak. Can he do anything else with it? Looks like he just instantly blows up Arce. Yep, so he can still go here as well because they're very low on mana. Rift Herald also going to be picked up. Stayhorse is just like, you know what, mate, I'm playing PvE at the moment because I've got my Devourer stacking up nicely. Kira swooped in for a kill there, so it was a 1-for-1 trade. But, you know, signs of life, at least out of Lion Gaming. They're going to put a lot of pressure down on this mid lane. Arise doing some damage there. Yeah, they really have to start actively playing on the map. This might cost him his life, though, as the snare does land very low on mana. Doing about half his health. Look at Azir. He's gone for that Abyssal Scepter. Yeah, exactly right. Abyssal is kind of cool on Azir. You know, you go into the triple item of Nash's Tooth, Abyssal, and then the Rylai's Crystal Scepter. You have like offensive, defensive feel. You can control. You can initiate. You can do all kinds of cool things on the guy. But I agree. You probably want to go with the Nash's first up. But look, when you're playing against a Fed LeBlanc, well, a head LeBlanc, I should be saying, is. Don't have much of a choice at this stage. Steros just going to be seeing that red buff gets taken away. Finds a pink for his troubles. Doing a great job. That Devourer probably about halfway done at this stage. 12 stacks, I do believe, so getting near that halfway mark. Sees Thiak. Look at the damage coming out. Just takes the camp for himself.
Really.
Thank you very much.
Pushing his lead to its limits right now.
I kind of like that Lamb gets 2 wolves with Devourer. You know, the Devourer wolf and then the other wolf. It's kind of cool. Yeah. You know, what's better than
starting
one wolf?
a family?
Yeah.
Smurf standing right next to a pink ward. Not going to choose to take it, though.
Yeah, it's not about that. 5 auto attacks. That's a big investment, mate.
It's true.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Looks like Sarah's just doing a great job of continuing to farm. After those first 2 kills, haven't really seen him leave the jungle. He really wants to get that Devourer stacked as quickly as possible and open up the potential that a Kindred brings to the table.
Yeah, you know, everything's on the line right now. Like early Baron buffs, Dragons can continue to stack out. There's still 5,000 gold in the lead, so it's not like there's much that can go right now as they pop in.
Did you get that one? Didn't see as it was
did
quite
RC
quick.
Get it?
I'm not too sure. But with the help of the Rift Herald buff in the top lane, we see Smurf taking down that tower.
And all of a sudden, he can just turn his eyes to mid, you know, look for a dive there. Yeah. Siak spotted out by a good sweeper, actually out of the support.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, Uri just... Even with no one in the lane, he can't afford to extend more than a few steps outside his turret range. Just the fear of where LeBlanc could be lurking. Despite having the Abyssal Scepter, you'd think that would give you a little bit of confidence to survive a full rotation, but not going to happen as we see Thiak. He's just looking for wards, knowing how deep the enemy has been in his jungle. There are bound to be a few wards lurking.
Yeah, 100%. Also smarts out the wolf camp. Means that he gets a little bit more vision on the bottom side of his jungle. Ensures that no dive will come out of that side. So they are trying to play as safely as possible whilst obtaining resources. They also recognize that, you know, bottom lane is the last area they have playmaking, and Miracle one more time, in trouble.
Yeah, it looks like 2 teleports are going to be coming down. Gerald comes in. That is going to be 4 people in the bot lane. Everyone just trying to make something happen, but it is just tanks hitting tanks as Miracle and Saya stay behind their front line.
Yeah, exactly right. So really nice job from Smurf there to match the teleport in time this time. Flicker it burns the ultimate as well as Miracle's ultimate. They're able to keep themselves nice and safe. So 30 seconds now, a lot of pressure in this bottom lane. Flash pole.
Looks like Thiak's going to get knocked back in. Instantly flashes out of that one.
So sorry, Flash body slam is what I meant to say.
That's all right. A lot of resources wasted just for the Alistar flash, but again, they might have this bottom tower.
And they're sending a 5th member down there. What is better than 4 members? 5 members, Rogi. So here we go. They're going to brute force this one.
What are they sacrificing in return, though? The mid tower gets taken down for hard random, so they're going to get that bot one. It is going to fall, but in turn, they traded the mid to outer and a heck of a lot of damage going down on that mid inner. And Azir, he wasn't even needed in the end, so he could have potentially stayed there to defend.
I don't think so. I think he would have died if he stayed. So, you know, probably going down either way. But now the collapse coming out on Dragon. They need to be careful because the pincer is here.
They might have to pull the trigger on these 2 in the mid lane, but look at the damage coming out of Seahorse. He might be able to get the kill. LeBlanc goes in, not finishing off that one. He's able to get the Lamb's Respite, keeps himself alive. That is going to be a 1-for-0 trade, but that's the jungler, meaning hard random. They got a free dragon in their hands.
Yeah, they probably had it regardless because there's still 7,000 gold in the lead. So, you know, you would appreciate Lion Gaming. They need to go aggressive on someone. Kindred probably not the target they're looking for, but the idea there is you're getting pincer, just hard commit to one side. The side that has the 2 people on it,
you got to
see what you can get. In the end, it wasn't really much, but once again, they're trying to take as much as they possibly can. It just isn't working out for them because they put themselves in such an early goal disadvantage.
Yeah, Smurf feeling good. He's got himself a completed Rod of Ages, already starting to stack that one up. Spectre's Cal to boot on the side of Kindred, getting herself a nice little Hex Drinker here. A lot of magic damage on the side of Lion Gaming, so making sure that on top of Lamb's Respite, that survivability keeps him alive. LeBlanc finishing off that Abyssal Scepter here, so matching the magic resistance debuff.
Yeah, also has a needlessly large rod, if you do not mind. So starting to hunt out Yuri.
He might be in a little bit of trouble here. The further those ghosts travels, the longer the slow is. So Bard was there to back him up. Yeah. Not too sure if LeBlanc's going to pull the trigger on that engage.
I would think not, but you know, you never know with Kira.
He's doing well this game. He's got that needlessly large along with the boost of Lucidity, so we're going to be seeing a lot of spell rotations coming out.
Yeah, it certainly will. And, you know, right now, LeBlanc pretty comfortable scaling up into the mid game. You see that not really much happening, however, as we do hop back onto Summoner's Rift and hop back off again.
Yeah, Summoner's Rift, the slideshow, ladies and gentlemen, so hopefully we will have this game coming back as we see the Rift Herald going to be taken again. The Devourer fully stacked at this stage. This one is just for funsies here as they want that buff. We've seen a lot of teams in this tournament prioritizing this Rift Herald so highly, especially when their lanes are ahead.
Well, let's have a look at it. He's sated at 19 minutes. There's a reason that Steros is able to do this, and it's just because he can pretty much jungle with impunity right now incredibly quickly. You can see that just ducks in for a couple of seconds, able to take that one away. And yeah, so just a lot of options right now as they look like they've caught out Lickrip. But
Fate's Call is never caught out.
Exactly right.
That's just the thing. They've been spending so much attention on this bot lane, but an Alistair Kalista, which target do you pick? The correct answer is neither, because they both have a get-out-of-jail-free card.
But the other thing, right, is that when you have a look at it, that's a lane that should be winning. So if you don't gank it, then you just have 0 winning lanes at this point. Problem is that Smurf is just tearing through these turrets. And, you know, whilst they have put a lot of pressure in the bottom lane, it still is 9,000 gold that they are behind. So, you know, definitely not working out, not defending that, but I'm just saying that they're trying to make the play in the one lane they think that they can secure a kill.
I really like how tanks these days, they're going for that Rift Herald buff, and also that once the second dragon, they can just push down towers as if they were an ADC. It just burns through them, shreds them to nothing but rubble. Of course, the inhibitor towers do regenerate over time, so if they are able to get themselves a brief respite, will be able to regen that one up. I don't know if they can do this. He's just hopping around the queue from Lucian. Look at the damage coming up. The red buff might be enough to finish him off, and there it is. A massive kill coming out of Steros, showing just what a Fed Kalista can achieve. Not Kalista, sorry. Kindred can achieve.
Atlas does that one as well, but don't worry about it. So yeah, Kindred coming up with a huge thing. Definitely a max thing. Not even using Red Smite there, so that isn't even the maximum damage that he can put out right now. But as we already mentioned, sated at about 19 minutes means that he is incredibly farmed and will be able to win out these fights. And they're pushing into the bottom lane now. And hard random look like they're putting on a clinic. It is 10,000 gold up at 21 minutes in. Make it about 11. And this team just will not be slowed down on day 2 of IWCI.
Yeah, they've got the Herald buff and they're pushing 5 members on the bottom side of this map. The inhibitor turret. The only thing that stands in the way of Lion Gaming is we see Steros. He's in the base along with Kira. The tower is going to be the main focus. Dural, he's trying to keep them at bay, knock them up at Smurf. He's got his ultimate down. Looks like everyone just trying to focus this Nautilus. He's so damn tanky, but Lickrip, he's in. He's got his ulti on. He's tanking. Nautilus the first one to fall. A Bard ulti keeping the Alistair at bay. Thiaki's trying to do what he can. The Lamb's Respite buying them some time. Don't think it's going to be enough. There goes the Gragas. He falls. The inhibitor tower is the next one to fall. The inhibitor soon to follow. Just huge damage coming out from hard random right now.
Yeah, and they're still not done. They're going to break the bottom of the base. They force back Arce and Saya, the kind of shining light for this Lion Gaming lineup. They are just going to withdraw after that. 22 minutes into the game. They're 13,000 gold up with Kalista, with Kindred. They're going to be able to clean up Baron. They've already taken the Baron inhibitor. Honestly, this hard random team, if they weren't favorites before today because of their victories yesterday, with this victory, definitely have to start like pushing for that top team.
Yeah, look at that. 13k gold in the lead. 7 towers to 1. That is quite an advantage to have it 22 minutes into the game spawn.
That. Look at the items. So, yeah, Death Cap picked up.
Oh, boy.
More picked up, as well as another recurve bow.
Yep.
So he's going to go towards a very greedy build of something like the Hurricane in there. You also check out QSS finished up. Making's a Frozen Heart right now. For Smurf, he's not ever going to die. What looks to be a Locket is going to be picked up right now. So everything just in favor of this hard random lineup. You can't face check this because Kira will kill you.
Yeah, this should be a very easy Baron as the bot side inhibitor is also down. Looks like Arce is going to be the first one to fall in this fight as soon as the W procs. Steros is in a little bit of trouble, but he does have the Lamb's Respite available. Not going to be able to use it in time. Sorry, it was on cooldown. So they do get that kill. Going to have to back off the Baron.
Yeah, that was a confusing decision for the jungler to go over as well.
Yeah.
I think Kira could have picked that one up by himself. And here goes Thiak.
Oh, they really want to get something out of this, but Thiaki's getting so low, so quick. LeBlanc going to be able to take out that one in the background. The Emperor's Divide comes down, but I don't think it's going to be enough as Maokai. He gets one. He gets another one. Kalista pretty far away, but Lickrip, he's trying to do his best to keep that Nautilus at bay, but it's best just to let him go at this stage and get the tower.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be the case, as a nice kill came out of Yuri there on the back end of that team fight, was able to pick up Kira, so a slightly good news story, but still 12,000 gold and another huge team fight victory for this hard random lineup, looking to break the second turret of the base.
It should be a free inhibitor also with only Arce and Nautilus available to stop that one. The inhibitor falls. Any minute now. Smurf just taking the brunt of the damage, not even hurting. Oh, we see the Bard ulti going down, missing Miracle completely as he's able to hop his way out of that one. The teleport comes through. Dural gets headbutted right away. Looks like they've turned their attention onto Smurf. Just going to be hoping to kill him. He's so damn tanky, though. Got his ultimate on. Look at the damage coming out. Miracle gets blown back into the center of the fight, but Smurf, he's onto Saya. He's straight up 1v1ing him. Miracle, he's still alive. The Lamb's Respite comes down in time. Fiak, he wants to be able to get this one, but I don't think it's going to be enough as the Rend comes through. That's going to be a double kill to Kalista. The Magical Journey just proving another way into the base. There goes Arce. Dural is very low. Yuri takes up a kill on the back end of that one, but Steros, he's in the fight. The Super Minions making their way into the base from the bot side. This could potentially be the game here, Spawn.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be the case. And what another team fight out of Hard Random. Just trusting in their teammates, making sure the ultimates are on point. They still have an AD carry to be able to chip out on this. And double super creeps mean that they will end the game at only 25 minutes in. And Hard Random absolutely smash Lion Gaming.
They looked explosive this game from start to finish. Every single decision they made was the correct one. The 1v1 at about 3 minutes in the game was just impressive, and then the bot lane just fell further and further behind.
Yeah, exactly right. You know, across the board, you have to say that you had two winning lanes. You had Nautilus versus Maokai. It's actually quite a good lane for Nautilus because you can push up. That's one of the important things about top lane. You have this Bard Lucian lane. They're able to push up, create all this pressure so your Gragas can effectively countergate. What happens? Minute 4, Kira just flies in for a solo kill. All of a sudden, Gragas is like, holy crap, I have to worry about this CIS superstar mid laner. He's absolutely dominating Yuri there on the Azir. So he starts cheating towards mid lane. All of a sudden, Stairhorse just flies in the top lane, picks himself up a kill, snowballs that lane in favor of the Kalista Alistar. And because it is a CC heavy lane, as soon as they get an aggressive advantage, they're just able to go aggressive time and time again. And that is what we saw out of the bottom lane of Hard Random. So honestly, a clinical game, but just very well executed on what should have been a harder early game from what Lion Gaming locked in.
Yeah, we saw very early on they abused that level 1 advantage, doing a lot of damage, bullying the Kalista out, but once Licorice hit that level 2, level 3, he gets the heal to keep his Kalista up. He gets the CC to provide the initiate. And Steros, he was just ganking all the lanes. We saw him get the Nautilus the second the Naut hooked back into the minion wave. Yeah. There was the Kindred.
That was a little bit silly. So using your one escape to get closer to death.
Greedy. Very greedy.
Yeah, it is greedy. It's certainly something. There's different words that I'll use to describe that one. But, you know, in the end, that also means that his lane starts falling behind. And it just happened across the board. It looked like Lion Gaming, like, they lose mid lane. They're like, oh my god, we have to now win top lane super hard. All right, now our duo lane's behind. We have to win the 1v1 super hard. I can't afford to sacrifice any of this CS or experience. And in the end, what happened is they just continued to snowball the game. Gragas is like, well, now I have no good places to go. Like, this is a disaster. And honestly, that's what the map turned into. Just this big mess of, like, they tried to force bottom lane time and time again. You know, you have to respect the decision because they at least went down swinging, picked up the turret there, but just wasn't enough against what is a dominant performing CIS team.
Yeah, Hard Random cementing their spot at the top of the leaderboards, really showing why a lot of people pick this as the favorite team coming into. So we're going to have a quick look at the overall standings right now, having a look at the last 3 games played this morning.
Yeah, so as you can see on your screen, it is the Chiefs Esports Club, Saigon Jokers, and Hard Random, all the blue side squads picking up the wins. And as I said, Chiefs, they were backs against the wall, potentially going down 0-3 against INTZ. Now 1-2. Saigon Jokers, however, undefeated as well as Hard Random. That makes an interesting top of the leaderboard, especially now that Supermassive had dropped their first game.
That's exactly right. And a lot of really convincing wins today. Every single game, the team that got ahead stayed ahead and were able to just snowball the victory using every single advantage they had.
Potentially with the exception of the Chiefs. I mean, INTZ had a 2,000-3,000 gold lead. I think we have to acknowledge how well they played the outer ring macro and jockeyed for position around there. But yeah, once the team fighting phase started, seems like the aggressive team, the team that's moving forward more often than not, is the one coming up. And that's what we expect in best of ones. Aggression is key.
Alrighty guys, we're going to go to a quick break, but make sure to stay tuned for more epic League of Legends action.